Okay. So you can get started. Okay. Good afternoon. Let's call to order the Community Event and Neighborhood Grant Distribution Subcommittee on December 1st at 3 p.m. The city does not tolerate disruptive behavior in our meetings. Sunnyvale prides itself on rich diversity of our residents. We are committed to creating a culture of belonging where members of our diverse community feel included, safe, and respected. This meeting is considered a limited public forum, which means the subcommittee can regulate the time, place, and manner of speech. Speaker comments must be limited to the agenda item being considered by the subcommittee for consent calendar or public hearing items. Speaker comments during oral communications must be limited to matters within the subcommittee's authority, generally referred to as within the subcommittee's subject matter jurisdiction. If a speaker's comments are not related to an agenda item, the presiding officer will rule the speaker out of order. A speaker will not be ruled out of order because of a disagreement with the content of their speech. Location and online meeting details are available on the subcommittee's agenda. Use the show captions button to view captions on Zoom. Comments on matters not on the agenda must be submitted prior to the time I call the item for oral communications. Comments on agenda items must be submitted prior to the time I close the public hearing on the agenda item. Speakers are requested to keep their comments to the time period set for the public comments for the agenda item, which will be strictly enforced. Guidelines are posted on the city's website and on the subcommittee meeting agenda. Please join me in salute the flag. Okay. Recording officer, may we please have the roll call?
Yes. Councilmember Cisneros,
Present.
Councilmember Srinivasan,
Present.
Vice Mayor Sal.
Present.
We have 3 council members present.
Okay. So this is now the public's opportunity to address the subcommittee on topics not listed on today's agenda items. This section is limited to 15 minutes and may be extended or continued after the hearing's general business section of the meeting. Individuals may speak once during oral communications. The subcommittee meeting is a limited public forum. The subcommittee can regulate the time, place, manner of speech. Speaker comments during oral communications must be limited to matters within the subcommittee's authority, which is known as the subcommittee's subject matter jurisdiction. If a speaker's comments are outside the subcommittee's subject matter jurisdiction, the presiding officer will rule the speaker out of order. This allows the subcommittee to conduct its business in a reasonably efficient manner and protects the rights of other speakers. The speakers will not be ruled out of order because of disagreement with the content of their speech. Please submit a speaker card to the recording officer. Raise your digital hand now or dial *9 on the telephone to indicate you wish to speak. I will call members of the public participating in person first, followed by remote participants. Speakers have 90 seconds to speak. Does anyone want to speak under oral communications before we hear from remote speakers? Do we have any speakers? Okay. So no speakers? Okay.
Not at this time.
Okay, great. Because of the nature of remote communication, speakers who are ruled out of order will not be given another chance to speak on this item. Therefore, speakers are warned to limit their comments to the subjects that fall within the committee's authority and decide to take action. Recording officer, do we have any remote participants wishing to speak on oral communications?
Not at this time.
I will go ahead and close oral communications. Now, I will go ahead and open public comment on consent calendar items. Please submit your speaker card to the recording officer. Raise your digital hand now or dial *9 on the telephone to indicate you wish to speak. I will call on members of the public participating in person first, followed by remote participants. Speakers will have 2 minutes to speak. Does anyone else want to speak on consent calendar before we hear from remote speakers? Recording officer, do we have any speakers?
No, we do not.
Okay. Recording officer, do we have any remote participants wishing to speak on?
Not at this time.
Okay. So I will close public comment and I will ask for a motion from my colleagues. Okay. Councilmember Cisneros.
I move the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay. Recording officer, please conduct the roll call vote.
Councilmember Srinivasan,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sal,
Yes.
Councilmember Cisneros.
Yes.
The motion passes 3-0.
Okay. Okay. So now we'll move on to the public hearing. 25 0593, review of calendar year 2025 grants and consideration of 2026 community events and neighborhood grant program application. Is there a staff report?
Yes. Good afternoon, Angela Chan, Recreation Services Manager. I'm the staff liaison for the program. The meeting agenda today includes a review of the 2025 projects that have been implemented and will be implemented by the end of this year, an overview and discussion of the 2026 grant applications received, a funding recommendation from this subcommittee on the applications received. As a refresher, this grant funds 2 separate programs, neighborhood grants and community events. This is a summary of the registered neighborhood associations that received funding for the current year 2025 and the status of their grant. This is a summary of the community events that received funding for this year and the status of their grant. The second table is a summary of both grant programs, funding reimbursed and pending. This slide provides a review of the number of applications received, funding requested, and awarded over 3 years from 2024 to 2026. To recap, there are significant changes to next year's program in 2026. Funding increased to $150,000, an increase of over 200% from $48,000 this year in 2025. There are now 2 application periods, fall 2025 and spring 2026. The fall cycle, this current one, will allocate up to 80% of funding, or $120,000. The remaining 20% will be allocated in the spring application cycle, scheduled for March 2026. Added a 3rd tier of funding for neighborhood grants. Introduced a neighborhood block party application for the first time. Increased grant funding for community events from 40% to 50% of event budget. Also wanted to call out some staff notes as we review funding recommendations in the next few slides. City grant funds for community events are intended to close a funding gap for organizations hosting the event, not generate income. Applications received after the fall application deadline will automatically be rolled forward into the spring application cycle. This is a summary of the 13 neighborhood grant applications received and funding recommendations. Neighborhood associations can only submit 1 grant application per year. One group submitted 2 applications. Staff is recommending 1 gets funding. A separate block party application was created to give residents an opportunity to host a smaller event, usually for 1 to 3 blocks in a registered neighborhood association. We received 10 applications, and staff is recommending funding all of them at their requested level. This is a summary of the 9 community event applications received and funding recommendations. 4 are new events: Happiness Smile Farm, Pet Appreciation, Pride Fest, and Spring Spectacular. 2 events, Diwali and Art and Wine Festival, have opportunities to generate revenue in their event. Staff recommendation is based on there being a funding gap, the event cost minus projected revenue. Art and Wine Festival's event budget didn't show a funding gap. Rather, their budget showed revenue generation from the event. Therefore, staff has no recommendation for funding. The funding request of $110,000 from the Autism Society, San Francisco Bay Area, is for more than the cost of the community event. Staff's funding recommendation is to fund 50% of the event budget submitted. This is a summary of both programs, funding requested, and recommendations by staff. Listed are 2 options for subcommittee's consideration. This concludes staff report.
Thank you. So I will now ask for questions from my colleagues. Do I have any questions?
You have already raised the hand.
Oh, okay, sorry. Where's the raise? Okay. I don't see where the raise is.
Okay.
Okay,
Go ahead,
Councilmember
Go ahead.
Cisneros.
Yes, thank you, staff, for all this great work. And it's always a pleasure to see all of the fun things that our community has planned on a high level like this. I wish we could just show slides like this to everyone, have every Sunnyvale resident see all the fun things that are happening in current years. And maybe it would also get them excited about, you know what, we don't have. So that's what I was thinking of when you're going through the presentation. But I have a question about the Halloween celebration in the Heritage District that I believe had, if I saw it correctly, had a recommendation of $0.
Correct.
Oh, and I might have missed it in that, but could we go over again why that was?
So they submitted 2 separate applications, and the Halloween celebration actually exceeded their allotted funding availability. We said no to neighborhood grants, but we have plans to talk with Heritage to get more information and see if we have alternatives we can suggest.
So said no to, so the requested amount exceeded.
They submitted two applications. So one of them is their annual arch project that they've been submitting. So that one, staff is recommending funding for 2026.
Oh,
The
I see.
second application they submitted for Halloween, we don't think it's appropriate for the neighborhood grant program, which is why staff recommendation is 0, and to fund the one that each neighborhood association is allowed.
Oh, okay. Yes, that makes sense. And so what would be some of those other options?
So it's a little bit complicated because they don't actually own the Halloween
Yes.
event. They have so much traffic coming through.
Mm-hmm.
So we need a little bit of time to talk with other city departments and see what the options are for safety, traffic, all of those things. And it's on our to-do list, but we haven't gotten there yet.
Okay, awesome. That's kind of a TBD. Let's figure out what this would look like, but we do want to be involved.
Yeah, because we're not sure if it's funding they need or if they just need additional support from some city departments to make sure the area is safe.
Yeah, they had support from this past year, this past Halloween, at least having the roads closed off and some more of that safety. But yeah, as an ongoing conversation, like what the city can provide and if there is a way to make that work next year with the arts. Okay, great. The rest make a lot of sense to me. Thank you.
Councilmember Srinivasan.
Thank you. Thanks for the presentation. And then I'm so excited. It's triple the grant money, which is so exciting. On slide 3, Sunny Arts, Panama Park, and Cherry Hill, those are all pending. What does that mean? They are yet to submit their expense reports, or Sunny Arts is here. So even with that, we will come under the budget of the grant, right? Because some of the associations got less than what they requested or what we granted. For example, look at Bidwell, it's about $200 less. And then Cumberland South is fine. Ortega Park is about $700. Right? We will have some money left.
Correct. Some neighborhood associations might still have some activities they're planning. So like Cherry Chase probably has other activities that's happening around December. They're going to
Okay.
submit reimbursement for it. But I agree with you. We're gonna likely be under spent from what the grant award amount was.
Okay. And then I'm curious about Sunny Sagar Mata. They didn't submit any application this year, or what happened? They did not?
Yeah, all the applications you see listed are all the ones we received.
Right,
So
okay.
if they're not listed, they did
Right,
not
okay.
submit an application.
Okay. And then Chamber of Arts and Wine Festival, that's that, right? On next slide, slide 4. The 5th one. Sunnyvale Chamber of Commerce is the arts and wine,
Correct.
right? So the next year, they somehow projected they will be generating more revenue. Is that the way it works? Or because if you look at slide 9, there is no staff recommendation, which means that somehow they are generating revenue.
Correct. And we do look at each criteria each year with a critical eye. So we look at each event budget individually per year, and we did fund Art and Wine Festival in 2025.
Okay.
But we do look at criteria critically each year as we look at each application and each event budget.
Okay. So you also mentioned in slide 6, sorry, 2 applications showed revenue generation from event Diwali and then Arts and Wine Festival. So whatever they've requested minus the revenue generated is the grant money, right? Is that the way it works?
Correct. So staff recommendation for Diwali is based on the funding gap is how we described
Okay.
it. So we looked at the event budget projections and looked at the revenue they projected in the budget and the costs.
Okay.
And we identified the funding gap at 18,000, which is where we made the staff recommendation.
Okay, got it. And then you also mentioned 40% is increased to 50% of the expenses. Where does that count? Or where is that accounted?
So it just meant each application, each grant allocation could be a little bit higher. So if the community event budget, previous years, we said the city grant would only fund 40% of the event because we saw such a significant increase in funding. In this year's, in 2026 criteria, we said the city funds can fund up to 50% of the event budget.
Okay, got
So
it.
that's in the grant guidelines that you don't necessarily see in the report.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting that this year we got less community event grant application 9 versus 15, if you go back to slide 5. But of course, one application skewed the whole fund requested, which is autism. They wanted 110,000 or something like that, right?
Yeah, and we also hopefully will see more applications in March of 2026 for the second cycle.
Oh,
So
okay.
this may not be all the
Oh,
community
okay,
events
I
applications we
I
see.
I
This
see.
is the first round, and then we'll have a second round in spring.
But going back to the event which happened in 2025, yeah, maybe there will be some application. So I'm also really excited. This is my interest, the block party application and then approval. That is really, really good. There is one in near Ortega Park Neighborhood Association, Yaran Avenue. The question I have is, if I remember correctly, last year, any block party, they should be associated with the neighborhood association. Is that correct? Is that still a criteria or?
It is.
Okay,
So we ask that applications for block parties are from registered neighborhood associations.
yeah,
And in the application, we ask that the neighborhood association leaders acknowledge that they understand there's a block party application being submitted.
okay. Because I got requests from a block to organize block party, but then there is no neighborhood association in that area. So how does they can apply?
It's our hope that we can encourage them to become a neighborhood association
Yeah,
as a first step, and then to apply for a grant,
right.
be a block, to host a block party.
Right, I am asking them, but hosting the block party itself is a tough ask for them. But anyway, I'm also excited about a couple of new events which are happening. The Cupertino Symphonic Band, which is new this year, right?
They've actually were funded last year or the year before, but they refused the grant. So this year, if we fund them,
Right.
we will be able to see if they'll accept the grant. We actually awarded them a reduced amount when they applied the first time because of limited funds, and they turned it down because they were nervous that the grant, which does not allow them to fundraise, we're not going to cover the cost of their event.
Right. Okay. And then Autism Society, I know it's a good organization. But coming to slide 10, so we said that 80% of 120, about 120,000, and then the funding recommendation is 95,000 on this slide, right? The last column.
So we said the fall cycle could be up to 80%.
Up to 80,000.
So whatever we're not allocating in the fall, depending on applications we get in the spring, we can allocate in the spring.
Okay, okay. Yeah, this looks awesome. And then thanks a lot. I'm quite sure a lot of neighborhood associations will be very happy. Snail, which used to get $1,250 when we started, now we are recommending 5,000. So that's really good. And then, of course, Sunny Arts. So thank you very much. Thanks for all the hard work.
Yeah, thank you. When I was reviewing the information, it was really well organized and really easy to understand the thought process that staff made to make these recommendations. Um, so my one question is, when I look at the summary for the organizational grants, there's this animal assisted happiness, and then the complete application, it says missing budget. Is that like something they gave afterwards or gonna give in the future? I couldn't, like in the application, I didn't see it, but maybe.
I believe I got budget.
Okay,
So,
great.
yeah.
Okay. And then anything we award here, then goes to council and then council approves it. And then, if council approves it, then they need to show receipts for everything. So, that's really good accountability. So thank you. Um, and then I thought it was really nice that there was one that says submitted past the deadline, but you mentioned like the Duo Animal Welfare Project. So will that go to the spring time when they might be eligible? Or would they not be eligible?
So
Because
any application for 2026 that we received past the fall deadline, we will go ahead and roll automatically into the spring. But Duo, I don't believe is one of them.
okay,
Yeah, so they're recommended for funding for this cycle. I can only recall one neighborhood association whose application missed the fall deadline, and we're gonna roll their request into the spring.
oh, I thought the Dual Animal Project, it says 0 under staff funding recommendation. On page 2 of 3 for the summary. Duo, 0. I assume because they didn't make the deadline. Or is it because they don't have a minimum of 500 attendees? Gerald Dual Animal Welfare Project. Eligible funding, and then staff funding recommendation is 0. Am I reading it right? It's page 2 of 3 on the attachment 2.
You're looking at the RTC, Vice Mayor Sal? What are you looking at?
Yeah, I might be. I think I'm looking at what it was in the files for its let me see. Is it? It's the
Recommended funding summary.pdf.
yeah, summary. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then you see 0 there too.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So if you go to the Sunnyvale grant
The second
summary,
link on the register.
yeah.
And then page 2 of the.
Yeah, page 2. Yeah, on the Legistar, it was the summary. And then it's just page 2. So I guess my question would be, the 0 is either because they turned it in late or that they didn't meet the minimum of 500. But,
But
Sorry, we're pulling up the documents now. So for 2026,
yeah.
we are recommending funding for Duo,
Oh, okay.
which is why we're a little bit confused.
2026, we're looking at page 2.
No, the staff presentation says.
Oh, you're
1,000.
recommending it. So it changed from this.
Yeah, we are recommending funding for dual dual.
Okay. Does it matter that, so on this spreadsheet, it says they expect 50 people attending, but at the top of it, it says minimum 500.
There are a small number of events, community events for the 2026 cycle that
Yeah.
aren't meeting the 500 minimum.
Okay, yeah,
They're one of them.
yeah,
A couple of the multicultural events hosted by schools also are going to be close, but probably did not outright say they were going to hit 500.
yeah.
Staff did recommend funding for organizations in community events that did not hit that criteria.
Okay. And it's good because we do have the funds this year.
Correct. And part of that is because we have funding available.
Yeah.
The events themselves, we're going to draw different residents with different interests.
Yeah.
And because we did not have funding limitations, the staff recommendation is to fund those events.
Okay. Okay, well, thanks for answering my question. Good decision making. Thank you. Thank you to staff. Okay.
And the one thing that you will need to recognize when you finally vote on this is if you want to recommend funding for the Chamber of Commerce or not. We made no recommendation on that based on the fact that it would be generating revenue. The amount in their budget, they said they were going to make a total of $113,000 in revenue and a total expense of $87,000. So plus, that would be plus the 20 that they're asking from us. So that's why we put no recommendation on that one. We would leave that to you to make that decision.
I have a question. So since we did not use all the funding for this cycle, does it roll over to the other cycles?
It does.
Okay, so I was thinking that what if the chamber falls behind in some of their fundraising sponsorships? Could they come in
Yes.
the spring and, ask? Okay,
They could.
so that's good. So I would think it's really great that we have the extra session. Okay. So do we have any other questions from my colleagues? Okay, Councilmember Cisneros.
Yeah, thank you. A question about the Chamber of Commerce. So when the Chamber of Commerce was describing their need around this $20,000, and I know that the community was very upset when we had some gap years where that event wasn't able to be put on. Are they talking about this in terms of this is a do or die at this time? Or do they need the funding right now in order to be viable and move forward with their project? Will they be able to go into a spring cycle?
I don't know that was specifically addressed in the way you described it.
Yeah, because that's the one thing I was thinking. I'd hate for there to be another gap year and having that event, but at the same time, it's all really important for us to look at this holistically and say, hey, you are making money at this event. Maybe it doesn't fit in, but if we have those resources, I'm inclined to agree with the vice mayor in terms of let's look at where they're at in the spring and see if there are ways that we can make that work, because we're not doing that for any other group. And is this the first time? And I've been on this committee for a long time, but is this the first time they've applied for this?
No, we awarded them this year.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'd be happy to wait till spring to see how that goes. Yep, thanks.
If you could include that in your motion, that would
Right.
be
Yes.
finally,
Yeah.
that would be great.
Any more questions?
Yeah, I would, this year they organized and then they requested money, right? And then, if they request additional funding, any shortfall, I think we can consider that. Otherwise, we'll see how they perform. Okay, thank you.
And I had any other questions? Okay, I had a question about the chamber. Since there's such a big organization and the Art and Wine is such a big event, would it be appropriate for staff to reach out to them to tell them that if we decide not to give them a funding this cycle, that they can apply to the next cycle if they need it? Okay. Oh, thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah, we would do that through our email communication automatically.
Okay, sounds great. Okay, do we have any other comments, my colleagues? Okay, sounds great. Okay, so I will go ahead and open the public hearing on the specific item. Please submit your speaker card to the recording officer. Raise your digital hand now or dial *9 on the telephone to indicate you wish to speak. I will call on members of the public participating in person first, followed by remote participants. So speakers have 3 minutes to speak. So our first speaker will be Valerie S.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Valerie Suarez. I am the chair of the Snail Neighborhood, and I have been writing grants for the past 12 years for the city and for this community grants. I would like to acknowledge the incredible growth of awards that we have received over the years. I think that our first grant was about $425. So we have come a long way. And over the years, many of you have seen me come and plea or request, and I cannot thank you enough, all of you, especially staff, for supporting the initiatives that I had put forth 2 years ago for the 3-tier grant allocation. So thank you so much for hearing us, for attending our wonderful events. Staff, I cannot thank you enough. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any other speakers in the room? Okay,
No, we do not.
okay. So since before we hear from the remote speakers are warned to limit their comments to agenda item being considered. Speakers who were ruled out of order will not be given another chance to speak. Recording officer, do we have any remote participants wishing to speak on this item?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Max, you're free to speak.
Good afternoon. My name is Max Moore, and I'm the coordinator for the Heron Avenue Block Party. We were privileged to have this event this year, which drew about 120 people, Morale being one of them. Thank you for coming. And I want to echo what Valerie's saying. Really thank you to the entire staff that works on this. Thank you to Angela. Thank you to the whole team. You guys have done a great job. We really appreciate having block parties included in this round of funding. I really, really hope to see that continue on throughout the years. I think it's really important. And it's also illustrated by the fact that we had, it seems, quite a few applications this year for the block party funding. And I have a quick question regarding that. One of my questions was if we actually had funding received, but it looks like from the spreadsheet that Angela went through, it looks like we did. So thank you for that money. That's going to be very well spent. I have a question because as the organizer for this block party that draws out a lot of people, I tend to get a lot of parents and families asking for another one. They really love the event. They want it to be more than just a once a year annual event. They want it to happen 2 or maybe even 3 times a year. And the question I have is, if in the future our Heron Avenue block party were to expand to do it twice a year, let's say, is that an application that we can put in twice for the same block party? It's essentially the same group that does the block party, just having a twice annual submission rather than a single submission for through the year. That was my question regarding the block party submissions form. So that might be better phrased for an email for Angela, but since I have you here, I just wanted to ask that right now. And thank you for your time, and thank you again for all the work that you've done and the great success that this program has caused for the community.
Okay, and do we have any other remote speakers?
I have a question
Okay.
for staff based on the comment.
What we'll do, we'll look into that just to make sure we're giving the right answer and we'll
Okay.
respond back.
Okay, Thanks.
Thank you.
And also related question, can there be a new block party application in spring?
We'll verify that based on the discussion we had a few months ago on setting up all of these requirements.
Okay.
So just
sounds-
let's make sure we dot our i's on that one. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So do we have any other remote speakers?
No, we do not.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Councilmember Srinivasan, for following up on that question. So do we have any comments from my colleagues?
I don't have any comment, but I'm ready for the motion. Yeah.
I just wanted to
Okay, go ahead.
as the speaker said, staff did a wonderful job. A couple of months ago, we were here, and then staff diligently took notes, met with the community, and here we have this. Asked the council, recommended that the council grow this, and we have all these, and new neighborhood association came on board, and so anyway, thank you. Okay. Councilmember Cisneros?
And your comments inspired some of my own comments. I want to say I really appreciated hearing from the speakers because when we go and we change process like this, there's always a risk. Always, like, you could be coming and giving much different comments, and often we expect that. And so when it turns out like this is working really well, let's figure out the details. Let's get answers to these more in-depth questions, maybe individual, but now we have that knowledge to move forward in similar situations. I'm really glad we're going in a direction that looks like this is more seamless for the community to navigate. It seems, easier for staff as we're moving through the process. Change management is hard. But over time, having this be something that really makes room more for the partnership between the city and the community and less time for the bureaucracy of actually getting that done. And I think that if we're aiming for that goal, we're doing a pretty good job right now. So let your continued involvement, your continued input, and your continued amazing events are what's going to make that possible. So this is a very exciting meeting to have, and I've been hearing just such wonderful feedback just from members of the community in normal conversations, not just here. So thank you all.
I also wanted to make another comment. Like some of these ideas were just an inkling that we suggested many weeks ago. Like, let's have tiers. Let's, the last time we were here a year ago, let's have it so that there can be block parties. And then it's just so wonderful that staff took those little suggestions that we had and they made a full-blown, well-backed policy so that it happens, and it happens really well. So I think the strength of this program is the strength of our staff. So I just wanted to thank you for all the diligence, all the dedication, and our community will really enjoy all these events. So anyway, any other comments before we have a motion? Okay, so Councilmember Srinivasan.
Thank you. Move to approve alternative 1, recommend funding levels outlined in 2026, recommended funding summary tables to be submitted to council.
Okay, do I have a second? Councilmember Cisneros.
Second. Wait.
Okay, so now you can
No,
support your
yeah,
motion.
you're right. Yeah,
Okay.
advocacy. Yeah, it makes sense. Thanks for staff for not only listening to the community, reaching out to the community, and then in fact, some of the comments we heard, Arts and Wine Festival, you are reaching out to the organization to find if they need additional funding. So this is an important program. This brings neighborhood and then community together, not only in the neighborhood events, but also community events. This is very important for city to fund. I'm really glad that we are making progress and then increasing it, as one of our public said, from $450 to $5,000 is pretty substantial increase. Thanks, staff, for all your work. And then let's continue this path. Thank you.
Councilmember Cisneros?
Yeah, this is a real quick clarifying question for me. I thought I heard it in the original motion, but then I realized I may not have. Was it wrapped into the motion to see how fundraising goes for the chamber and see if they can reapply in the spring?
Yeah, that amendment is accepted. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't include that.
Yeah, I thought I heard you say something about that and then just wanted to, okay.
Okay.
Does that work? Okay.
Okay, so, so I want to announce that I'll be abstaining from this motion because one of the recipients is the Sunnyvale Presbyterian Church, of which I'm a member of. I receive no compensation from the Sunnyvale Presbyterian Church, and I'm not involved in their decision-making, but I just wanted to make sure that our process has absolutely no question about it. So I have great council members here who have seconded the motion and made a motion, and I feel fully confident with me abstaining and for the motion to go forward with my abstention, but it doesn't represent that I don't fully support it. And I think that this process has been such a wonderful experience. I mean, from a year ago, we've come a long way. And as Councilmember Cisneros said, it's been a huge success. And so thank you for all that. And this is just a personal decision that I'm making to abstain from it because I'm a member of the church and they're sponsoring the Pride event, which is wonderful, wonderful that they're doing that. And so I just, this is just a personal decision I'm making, not that I have to in any way legally or ethically, it's just my personal decision. So anyway, but I don't have to recuse myself from the dais or anything like that. So recording officer, please conduct the roll call vote.
Councilmember Cisneros,
Yes.
Councilmember Srinivasan.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes with 2 and 1 abstention.
Okay. Okay. So the next portion of the agenda is for oral reports and announcements by the subcommittee and staff to share information. Do any subcommittee members have any non-agendized items or comments?
No.
Okay. Does staff have any non-agendized items or comments? Okay.
So this meeting is important to me. I've actually not been able to do any council work since early October. I had a very severe health scare related to my thyroid. It became life-threatening at one point, and luckily I had a really amazing medical team and my family is really fantastic. And 2 weeks ago, I was able to get a surgery that completely corrected what was going on with me, but it was a really stressful and scary time, and I've missed being here very much. And this is my very first meeting back after my doctor was like, you can go to meetings again. And I'm feeling much, much better. So I just wanted to kind of mark that moment in a unexpected absence, but also let the community know that I'm back now. I'm safe, healthy, and ready to get back to work. And this is a particularly lovely meeting to come back to, right? Like all good news. I'm like, I hope the council meeting on Tuesday is just the same. All good news. So here's to hoping for that. Thank you, everyone, for your patience, and I look forward to finishing out the rest of the year strong and having an even better 2026. Thank you.
And I also want to say, welcome back, Councilmember Cisneros. You know, this was a really enjoyable meeting with my colleagues, with the staff. And so it's just a wonderful way to end the year. So great staff, great council members, great community members here with us. Yeah. So, oh, does staff have any non-agendized items? No? Okay. Done a wonderful job. Okay. So the meeting is adjourned at 3:51, and I want to thank everyone for your participation in today's